Have you ever looked at a stranger's Instagram feed and felt like your life was a massive pile of unfolded laundry in a world of curated minimalist lofts? You see the perfect mom, the perfect career, and the perfect morning routine. And then you look at your own cold coffee and realize you're still in your pajamas at 2 in the afternoon. We've all been there, trapped in this loop where we tell ourselves that once we lose 10 pounds, once we get that promotion, or once we finally get the kids to sleep through the night, then, and only then, will we be happy. But what if the very things you believe about your limitations are actually carefully constructed lies you've been feeding yourself for years? What if your unhappiness isn't a result of your circumstances, but a result of the stories you tell yourself about those circumstances? This is the central nerve that Rachel Hollis taps into in her powerhouse book, Girl, Wash Your Face. Today, we aren't just summarizing a self-help book. We're dissecting a cultural phenomenon that challenges the victim narrative many of us didn't even realize we were writing. Imagine you're standing in front of a mirror, but instead of seeing your reflection, you see a list of every excuse you've ever used. I'm not good enough. I'm not a good mom. I'll start tomorrow. Rachel Hollis argues that these aren't just passing thoughts. They are the anchors holding your ship in the harbor while the ocean is calling. The first big pillar of this book is the radical idea of personal agency. Hollis doesn't mince words. You, and only you, are responsible for who you become and how happy you are. In a world that loves to blame the economy, our upbringing, or our busy schedules, this book acts like a bucket of ice water to the face. It's the uncomfortable realization that while you can't control what happens to you, you have 100% control over how you respond. She uses this metaphor of a marathon runner. You don't just wake up and run 26 miles. You choose to put on the shoes every single morning when it's raining, when you're tired, and when you'd rather be eating a donut. Happiness is a muscle, not a mood. This leads us into one of the most transformative concepts in the book, the sanctity of the promises you make to yourself. Think about that one friend we all have, the one who says they'll meet you for coffee at 10 a.m., but then texts you at 10:15 saying they're just leaving the house. After a while, you stop counting on them, right? You stop valuing their word. Now, think about how many times you've told yourself, I'm going to go for a walk today, or I'm going to finish that project, only to blow it off for a Netflix binge. Rachel Hollis points out that when we break promises to ourselves, we are teaching our brains that our own word doesn't matter. We become that flaky friend to ourselves. The book argues that if you wouldn't tolerate a friend who lied to you constantly, why do you tolerate it from the person in the mirror? Building self-confidence isn't about grand achievements. It's about the integrity. Keeping the small, boring promises you made to yourself when no one else was watching. But it's not all tough love and hustle harder. Hollis dives deep into the lies surrounding our worth, specifically the lie that no is a final answer. Imagine a closed door. Most people see a locked door and walk away, assuming the path is blocked. This book suggests that a no isn't a wall. It's just a suggestion to find a different door. Or if necessary, build a ladder and go over the roof. She breaks down the not enough syndrome, the feeling that because you don't look like a magazine cover or handle stress like a Zen master, you are somehow failing at life. Hollis uses the analogy of a messy kitchen after a big family dinner. It's chaotic. There's flour on the floor and the sink is overflowing. Does that mean the dinner was a failure? No, it means life happened. It means people were fed, memories were made, and the mess is just a byproduct of the process. We spend so much time trying to hide the mess of our lives that we forget the mess is actually proof that we are living. Now, let's pivot into the critique, because this is where Girl, Wash Your Face becomes truly interesting. While the book has sold millions of copies, it isn't without its controversies. And analyzing these is key to understanding its place in the modern world. The pull yourself up by your bootstraps mentality that Hollis champions is incredibly empowering for some, but for others, it can feel a bit tone deaf to systemic issues. The critique often leveled at this book is that it ignores the very real external barriers, like socioeconomic status, mental health struggles, or systemic inequality that can't always be solved simply by washing your face and working harder. If we look at this through a transformative lens, we have to ask, is it possible to hold both truths? Can we acknowledge that the world is often unfair while still maintaining that our personal effort is the most important variable we can control? Hollis's brand of extreme ownership is a double-edged sword. On one hand, it cures the victim mentality that keeps people stuck. On the other hand, it can lead to a toxic level of pressure where every failure is seen as a personal moral failing. As a reviewer, I see this book as a high-octane fuel. If you have a clear road ahead of you, it will make you go faster than you ever thought possible. But if your engine is broken or you're stuck in a ditch, simply stepping on the gas might just make your tires smoke. The genius of the book lies in its relatability. Hollis shares her most embarrassing and painful moments to prove she's in the trenches with you. But the solution she offers is a very specific type of American, high-energy hustle that might not resonate with everyone's soul. My personal verdict? Girl, Wash Your Face is a must-read for anyone who feels like they are sleepwalking through their own life. If you find yourself constantly making excuses or waiting for permission to chase a dream, Rachel, Hollis is the loud, slightly frantic, but incredibly loving best friend you need to shake you awake. It's particularly potent for women who feel the crushing weight of having it all and need to be told that it's okay to drop the balls that don't matter so they can catch the ones that do. However, if you are currently in a season of deep grief or clinical burnout, take the hustle advice with a grain of salt. Sometimes you don't need to wash your face to go conquer the world. Sometimes you just need to let the water run and exist for a while. The most important takeaway, the actionable step you can take today, is the small promise rule. Don't try to overhaul your entire life by Monday. Instead, pick one tiny thing you will do for yourself every single day this week. It could be drinking one glass of water before your coffee, or walking for 10 minutes, or writing one paragraph of that book you've been dreaming about. The goal isn't the water or the walk. The goal is proving to yourself that when you say you're going to do something, you actually do it. That is how you build a foundation of self-trust that no lie can knock down. Rachel Hollis reminds us that we were meant to be the protagonists of our own stories, not side characters in someone else's. Life is messy, it's loud, and it's often unfair, but it is also yours. So, stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop believing that you are defined by your past mistakes. Stand up, take a breath, and yes, wash your face. You've got work to do. Thank you so much for staying on this chapter to the end. Analyzing these ideas helps us all grow a little bit faster and think a little bit deeper. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want to dive into more life-changing books without having to read them all yourself, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. We've got plenty of new episodes coming your way to help you level up your mindset and your life. See you in the next one.